published 0803 EDT, 22 September 2017 updated 1047 EDT, 22 September 2017 It's been one of the finest sights in football for the last few years. A snarling, ferocious beast, elbowing defenders out of the way, slamming the ball past a helpless keeper and running off celebrating with the same fury that got him there. I'll miss Diego Costa. Let's get this out the way. He had to go. The situation has been handled horribly by club, player and seemingly manager, and his inevitable transfer to Atletico Madrid is the only logical conclusion. Diego Costa didn't take long to make an impression at Chelsea and became an instant hit. The Brazilian always played with passion and would do whatever it took to secure victory. However, it feels as if the summer-long spurnedlovers saga has clouded what a force he was for Chelsea. His goals have won 2 of the last 3 Premier League titles. His aggression, pace, power and ruthlessness combining to make arguably the most feared attacking outlet in the division. It's true, his form could be patchy. He could go missing, hands on hips, link-up player eye, an even bigger scowl on a face that carries a permanent one. But if he was on one, forget it. His turbulent relationship with Antonio Conte ultimately spelled the end of his Chelsea career. During his time in the Premier League, Costa was never far away from moments of controversy. First got a taste of Costa on one just 3 games into his Chelsea career. Everton away, traditionally one of the tougher games in the calendar, ended a tempestuous 63 thriller with Costa the brilliant protagonist. He scored twice, gesturing in Seamus Coleman's face after his second, before running towards a jubilant away end in the Bullen's Road stand. A hero was born. Chelsea fans revel in the regular bile from opposing fans that gets poured our way. Costa wound them up like no other. At one time, it seemed barely a week went by without Sky Sports News playing his latest crime on repeat. Calls for bans, social media outcry and boos up and down the country. Admit it, though you'd have loved him on your team. Ask the great defenders of the Premier League era which striker from the last few years they'd least like to face. The answers would be unanimous. Yes, there was good, bad, and ugly during Costa's Chelsea career, but that's what you sign up for with a striker of his character. He was as guilty as anyone of downing tools during the bizarre 201,516 campaign which saw Jose Mourinho sacked and Chelsea finish 10th. Top-flight defenders always knew they had a challenge on their hands when facing Costa. The Spain international was a huge personality at the club and well-liked by teammates. The ludicrous standoff with the club and Antonio Conte last January over a money-spinning move to China was a distraction to the title chase and left a bitter taste that ultimately got us here. But profit from the live wire from Lagardo and you must deal with the drawbacks. He was worth the undoubted headaches. His antics during May's title celebrations at the Hawthorns summed up his childlike, boisterous personality. Dressed only in briefs, throwing fire extinguishers at journalists and simulating bizarre sex acts on teammates. James Milner he ain't. Exhausting to manage, no doubt. Antonio Conte clearly decided he'd had enough and moved to replace the man who had spearheaded the modern Chelsea's attack. Alvaro Morata has started extremely well. His movement, ability in the air and team play is everything you'd want from a striker who cut his teeth at Real Madrid and Juventus. Watching him isolated, frustrated, and fouled in Chelsea's goalless draw with Arsenal, however, it was impossible not to think of Costa. On his day Costa was unplayable, and his goals fired Chelsea to Premier League titles. Much like Didier Drogba, Costa seemed to reserve some of his most frightening performances for the Gunners. Last Sunday, Wenger's side managed to mute Chelsea's attack somewhat. Had Costa been up front, that probably wouldn't have been an option. By hook or by crook, within the rules or otherwise, he'd have found a way to win. Costa is all about finding a way to win. Chelsea have got rid of the player whose goals gained the most Premier League points last season. They had to. Having won 2 titles, terrorizing Premier League defenders, he laughs off into the sunset. Having failed to learn English, baiting his manager with sarcastic texts, going AWOL in Brazil for the entire summer and playing only park football with his mates since scoring in May's FA Cup final. That's Diego Costa. A genuine one-off.